Good morning to you. um, Hope you are going to be following where we stopped. You remember we had covered things to do with building materials used for construction of farm buildings. I would have loved to you to share with me different categories of those materials that can be used for making farm buildings. Today, if we remind ourselves, you could even keep on posting those examples. I will see them when you're asked those categories. Do not write things like cement, sand. No, you basically you write those categories like concrete. I don't know whether you can see. Like tiles, like thatch. Okay, you can see all. Oh, you can't see the ones I've written here. Thatch, tiles, concrete. Okay, we have wood. If we remember, we have blocks. Okay, we have bricks. We have asbestos and so on. Now, those are the examples of different groups of building materials. Hope you, as I captured them in the last lesson, you still remember them. Okay, so I do not want you to begin listing answers like sand, like cement. No, basically we need the groups. Today I want us to do or cover something different, and that is parts. I don't know whether you can see this. Parts of a typical farmhouse. Parts. Now, the word parts sounds to be wide. When you hear the word parts of farm building, we have three basic parts. Okay, I don't know whether you can name them. We have the roof structure. We have the wall structure. I don't know whether we can capture them. Then we have the foundation structure. So the foundation is we also call it a super. We call it a superstructure because in the word foundation, it is the background of this building. Now, each of these structure has its features. Therefore, we must know those features of each of them. Features could be to do with the parts. Each of them has different parts. I know we can be in position to name them. For example, look at the roof. In your notes that I've posted, you look at the parts of the roof. Which are they? We have things like, if this is the roof structure, which features can be found on the roof? Okay, So I do not want you to only look at the morphological structure, the outside, what you can see from the outside. I want us to see or consider also what we can be in position to see from the inside. I want to challenge you, maybe one time you could go to a place in your nearby community, in your area where roofing is being done. You realize that there are several parts that will be on the roof, ranging from the trusses, okay, rafters. So we have things like rafters, we have cross tie, we have the tie, we have the struts. The struts support the ties. We have the purlins. Okay. We also have the ridge or the apex. So I want to challenge you to look at the notes I've given you, I've attached, and look at basically the roof structure. You'll see some of those parts, and then you could go on and look at the main parts, the structure that shows the main parts of the farmhouse, and you look at them. Then I want the assignment I've given you, go to where a place where they are roofing in your area, and then see some of these parts. Now you cannot see them because this is an online lesson. So these are the features of the roof. So we can also have those of the wall structure. What can be found the wall structure? Basically, we have windows. We also have doors. Okay, so you have the main, the beam. Okay, so the wall structure. Then the foundation, which is super. We must know why it is super, because it is the background. So background of the building. Okay, foundation is the background of the building, therefore called the superstructure. So if the background, more attention has to be taken when the foundation is going to be done. Why? Because it is the foundation. It is the background of this building, and therefore attention has to be put when it is being made. If attention is not put, it means that it will be weaker. Okay, farmer will have a weaker building, which might collapse, which might not be durable, or might even cause accidents on the farm. Now, what are the features of this foundation? Foundation has 4 features. I don't know whether you can be in position to see them. And what you can do is you go to where there is a foundation, there is even a drawing. It can be erected in a well-drained area. Yes. Okay, to prevent maybe at one time sinking of this foundation and the whole building. Okay, therefore the site must be selected so well with well-drained soil, so that at one time it cannot sink. Okay, and it has to be firm, has to be made with materials that are durable. For example, concrete, okay, is one of those materials that can be used, bricks, and so on. So what are the features of this foundation? If this is, I'm going to erect a farm building, and I make a pit where I'm going to make that foundation. So on that pit, that is where the features are going to be. So we're going, at first we put, or we erect, or we throw some big stones or boulders. Maybe what I've not talked about is the depth of this foundation depends on the weight of this building. If it's a story building, the foundation has to be deeper. And if it is just a normal farmhouse, okay, then it can range, the depth can even be 50 centimeters, okay, not deep, okay, near surface of the soil. Now, after laying these, you don't call them hardcore. I don't know whether you can see hardcore. Maybe you need to draw it somewhere where you can see. Okay, so if this is our foundation building, and we have this is what we call hardcore. Big stones are the ones we first drop there in the pit. Then we follow them with a concrete footing. So we could call it a layer of concrete. We say concrete footing. Okay, to stabilize these hardcore. So we lay it on a layer of concrete to make it firm, and then we could erect a plinth wall. So we call it, using bricks. This can be bricks. It's a plinth wall. You can also call it foundation wall. Okay, and then after you lay a DPC. DPC is damp proof course. It is this black paper that is laid before now constructing the wall. So why do we put a DPC? In order to prevent water might move by capillarity and might rise through the wall, and the wall in future might collapse. Therefore, it is recommended that we put a DPC paper called damp proof course. Okay, so when we lay it, we have prevented many things from happening. I want us to continue very fast. Therefore, what are the features of the foundation? The features will be what we have written: 1, hardcore; 2, concrete footing; 3, a plinth wall; and 4, DPC. Okay, hardcore, okay, followed by concrete foundation, concrete footing, followed by concrete footing, followed by plinth wall. I've told you a plinth wall is also, or can also be called foundation wall. Foundation wall. Okay, and then lastly, damp proof course. So those are the features of foundation. Remember, I said there are 3 basic parts of the typical farmhouse. One of them is the roof structure, which we have looked at, the wall structure, and then the foundation or the superstructure. Now, those are the features of this foundation: hardcore, concrete footing, the plinth wall, and the DPC. how do we make this foundation is very important. What do we do? So procedure of making a foundation, you will follow it. Your notes, in your notes, there's something called for me. So the procedure of making this foundation, we measure, of course, the sides. So procedure, we measure where we are going to make a foundation. We have seen if this is where we're going to put a building, we have something like that with pegs. Pegs. So when you put these pegs, you have seen with strings attached. Certain string is attached. So this is where we're going to make it. Procedure make a foundation. Procedure. Down. Procedure. No. Procedure of making a foundation. Saying measure. We're saying we measure. After measuring, then of course, this is where we're going to make. We clear. So clear here. Here, remember, you have measured, and then these are pegs. So put the pegs, and then after we dig the side. So we dig through where we're going to make. We dig around here. That's where we're going to put our building. Then we mark, like I've told you, these are pegs that we use to mark. So we mark the corners, this corner, the other corner, this corner. So we mark that area, and then we could, after digging, removing the soil. So when you measure, we have said you clear, then you remove organic matter. Okay, then we mark the foundation, then we dig to remove the soils, then after we throw, after now we have removed the soil from this pit, then like I said, okay, remember I said we throw now the hardy core. Okay, after throwing the hardy core, then from there it is where now we add a layer of concrete. We say concrete footing. So now throw hardy core, now we lay concrete. Okay, and then so is lay or pour concrete. Okay, and then from there you gently ram this concrete. Put the concrete. Okay, you ram. Okay, so use a rammer, like I told you when we are dealing with fence construction. Then from there, after pouring concrete, you have rammed so that it is now at the same level. Then you construct now the wall. Remember the wall, the plinth wall. Remember, plinth wall is the same as the foundation wall. Okay, after laying concrete, you lay you make a foundation wall, and then from the foundation wall, what can be done is that you could add now the DPC. The DPC, I've told you, the DPC is to prevent circulation of water. Okay, water might move by capillarity to the wall, and in future the wall might break. Okay, I want us very fast to go to structure requirements of a farm building. Structure requirements of farm building. Very fast. Hope you have seen what I've done with making a foundation. So, leaving alone the parts of the farm building, you must know the features of each part. Okay, for example, the wall. What are the features? The windows, the doors, the wall plate. For example, the foundation, hardcore, the plinth wall, the foundation wall, the concrete footing, and then the DPC. Okay, and so on. So what are the structural requirements? Structural requirements. Hope you can see the notes beside you. What are the structural requirements of different farmhouses? Structural requirements. What must the structure have that is desirable in line with the purpose of that structure? Now, one of the structures that we're going to look at is animal or livestock, a livestock house. Now, I want to guide you when you talk of a livestock house. Of course, when you are setting exams, you may not be asked features of a livestock house. You may instead be asked features of a calf pen. So do not say that we do not cover animal house. Now, there are different examples I want you to take of animal houses. So I can challenge you to give me those examples. For example, we could have a pen, a calf pen. How should the pen be? Okay, how should the pen be in line with what is done in the calf pen? Okay, a calf pen is that house where we keep calves, okay, young ones of cattle. Now, what about a dairy barn? Okay, how must it be? I know you're used of a kraal, but this is not a kraal. A kraal is temporary and a barn is permanent. So, dairy barn, where we have animals, dairy animals. Okay, we have a zero grazing structure. Have at home, you have one or two animals, you make a simple structure for them. How should it be? Then we have milking parlor. However, the milking parlor is different from a milking shed. Milking shed is different from the parlor. Okay, I will challenge you. Maybe you write down when I come for the next lesson. You tell me the difference between the two, because they are not the same. A parlor is different from a shed. Okay, so we have a rabbitry or the rabbitry or rabbit hatch. We have a poultry house. We call it, if it is for if it is a deep litter house. Okay, so all these are animal houses. So when you ask what are the structural requirements of this animal house, the structural requirement of a rabbit hatch may not be the same as a calf pen, whereas those of a calf pen may not be the same as a zero grazing house. Therefore, we have to be think beyond what we are seeing. So now, if the question requires you to look at a pen, what is in the pen? Do you put calves just like that and you leave them there without feeding, without taking water? How should the floor be? Should it have windows? Do you think it should have a bed inside there for the calves? I don't know. You could also send me some feedback. Okay. How should it be according to this structure, according to what takes place there? Okay, Should it have a bedroom? Okay. Should it be with toilets? So I'm challenging you to think about different structures. Okay. I know some of you have rare rabbits, and you'd like to even take them to your bedroom, but we are not going to look at that today. Now, if it is, for example, the calf pen, we are going to give the characteristics that can fit in all these structures. Okay, most of them. However, if you're asked one of them, do not write all those points, because they cannot be attached to that structure. For example, when you look at the poultry house, it has litter. Do you know litter? Coffee husks. Oh, you use the word coffee husks. They are put on the floor. We may not need them in the calf pen. Okay. We may not need them in a sty, for example. So we look at each house, and we bring out different features of each. Now, animal house can have feed traps. Okay, where we put feeds, we can have feed traps. We can have water traps for water, for feeds. We can also have a concrete floor. Why concrete floor? We need to collect manure, liquid manure. We need to collect dung. Okay, we need to maintain hygiene. That's why you have concrete floor. So a concrete floor, usually when you are answering futures, we qualify futures. Hope you are aware that we qualify futures. So when you say feed traps for feeds, you have already qualified this future. Water trap for water. Okay, a concrete floor for easy collection of manure, for easy cleaning. You can easily clean when a concrete floor has been used, than when the floor of the animal house does not have concrete. Assuming it is muddy, animals are dropping down, they are dropping liquid manure, urine. What will happen? Something serious will happen. Okay, which I could have challenged you also to tell me what could happen. You will not be in position to clean this, and therefore in future it could become as a source of pathogens. Some disease causing organisms could survive in this area, and may become detrimental to your project in future. Now, how should the floor be? Concrete. How should the walls be? Walls, animal houses, long enough. Walls should be long. Walls should be high. Okay? Why? Protect animals. Protection. So protect animals from harsh effects of weather. Okay? That is why we should have walls long. Okay? Yes, animals are also, they could have effect on this. Weather could affect them in one way or the other. Now, These walls also should be plastered. Okay, walls should also be plastered. A large space should be left between. The point of large space should be left between the wall tops. Why? We want the smell can easily come out. Now, if you do not write like that, you could say well ventilated. You talk about ventilation. Okay? Otherwise, this house is going to attract sound pollution. Okay? It's going to attract smell. So there should be easy exchange of gases. Okay. Now, you also need to know that this house should have enough light, enough lighting system. Why? Because you want the animals to be in position to see each other. Yes. Why do they need to see each other? Some animals have to live with both sexes. The males have to be in the females have to be in position to view the males. Okay, in order for now, like in pigs, could have in sows, in ewes. Okay, happens there. Ovulation could delay. Ovulation could be affected if they don't see the males. Okay, so it is very important for the animals to see each other. If it is the ewe, should be in position to see the ram. Okay, this should be in position to see the boar. Okay. So if they are kept without, they could have effects of ovulation. They could not ovulate well. Okay, it is just that today some drugs can be taken, maybe through injection, to correct this, correct that, so that you have sows stay alone, so on. But they are supposed to be in position to see, to glance at the males. We should have a store, just a store where we keep the feeds. Keep feeds. Okay, and so on. So those are the futures. However, these futures should always qualify them. Always what? You qualify them when you are stating them. So should be large enough. Should have enough space, spacious. Okay. So animals should not be congested. Okay, they will be stressed. Animals should not be stressed. Be it the bird, be it the rabbits, be it the goats. Okay, should not be so much congested, because they will be stressed, and this will affect the production. I can see there are other structures that you should know. If this is the animal house, what about the crop store? What should it be its structural requirement? B, store. Crop store. Remember, we gave examples of these crop stores. Remember, we talked of a silo. We talked of a crib. I don't know whether you still remember, or because you have now eaten from it, either from a silo or from a crib. You must have eaten something from there, so you cannot forget. However, where we are to store crop, let me even write the word crop store. Crop store. These structures should be raised. So the foundation should be raised. So let me use the word raised, the foundation. Raised. Okay? Okay? And when raised, should be fitted with the pillars that have fitted with guards. So let me use the word deflectors. With deflectors or rat guards. Because rodents like grains. So should have the pillars. If this is the building we say that has to be raised, maybe let me try my arch. This is my arch. This is the building. Should be raised. This is the ground floor. Okay, and this is the roof. Okay, sure. If this is the ground floor here, sorry. Okay, so this building is raised. So this is the ground. Therefore, we should be in position to raise this building. It is raised. These are the pillars. So if their pillars are making it high, yes. But then they should have rat guards, fitted with rat guards or deflectors. Why? Rat guards. To guard against the rats. Guard against rodents. That is why they should be. Otherwise, we're going to have issues to do with rodents. Research, according to research, majority of crop losses today as a result of the post-harvest handling practices. So we need to care has to be taken so that grains or crop is stored with less or minimal disturbance by the pests. Now, assuming this is a crib raised, so even when the farmer is accessing it, it has to be with the ladders. The farmer has to put the ladder, okay, so that he uses this structure. It has to be raised above the ground. It's a crib, okay, and then inside it has to be fitted with stalls. So stalls where we can have to be fitted in order to where we can put the what? The produce. Okay, it has to be put on the stalls. And then also should have strong lockable doors. Strong lockable doors. That is for security purposes. Okay. Of course, with large, it should be spacious, large enough to accommodate produce. Yes, and then so be fitted with racks. So could have stalls. This is the same as rack. Okay. And so on and so forth. Now that is the structure requirement of the crop store. The other structure could be, I could call the workshop. So I want you to to find the futures state as your assignment. Futures of workshop. Workshop is where we keep machines, tools, implements on the farm. Okay, so you write about 5 of them. You list them for me. Okay, you cannot design it like the farmer's house, no, because of its purpose. It should have its features which are unique. Okay, so I'd like us, want us to move very fast, and we look at farm water supply. Farm water supply. Farm water supply. We know that water is very essential on the farm. Okay, for doing or used for various purposes on the farm, both in crop production, animal production, and so on, and because it's used in various projects. However, this topic I usually move faster. Always I challenge you to do something, to do research on this topic. Okay, because whatever we are to carry out, whatever we are to study on this topic, you need to be in position to research for it. These are normal things that we do even at home. You know the importance of water, so mine is only guide you what is on the, maybe what is required, the importance of water on the farm. Okay, washing farm apparatus, drinking by animals, because birds drink water, cows take water, the farmer himself takes water. So drinking, okay, we have points like drinking. We can use water for mixing farm chemicals. We can use water for irrigation. Okay, you can use water for cleaning animal houses, cooling farm engines. We can use water in fish farming. We can make ponds. Okay, you can have ponds, raceways. You can have valley dams. You can have local ponds, tank ponds with water, and then you have fish artificially reared. Water can also directly be used as a source of power, cleaning utensils, preserving farm produce. You can preserve a farm produce in water. For example, veggies. You can have vegetables soaked in water and then used the next day, so you can use it as a preservative. And then some problems, some challenges that could arise when there is water on the farm. Okay, water could lead to loss of soil fertility. When water is stagnated, or when water is in one place, it can act as a breeding place for some parasites, you are aware, like mosquitoes, like snails. Then water that is contaminated can become a carrier of some diseases. That one you're also aware. However, on the farm, water, when the water is too much on the farm, could be disastrous, can block navigation and irrigation pathways. What are the sources of this water on the farm? Where do we get this water? What could be the sources? Okay, we have very many of them, ranging from natural precipitation, rain, rainwater, ranging from sources like streams, rivers, lakes. Okay, we can also have underground water sources. Okay, especially when water sinks after it has rained. Springs, dams, where, so on. Those are different sources of water. How can we store water? So water storage structures, which you also know: tanks, underground tanks, overhead tanks, reservoirs, valley dams, and so on. So usually I do not take a lot of time on this water. Now that you have the notes, you can also try to be reading through. How do we treat this water? Water treatment. Water treatment on the farm. So you need to just read about how we can treat water. We boil. Okay. Filtration. Storing it for a long period of time. We can add chemicals like chlorine. Okay. On the farm. However, water which is going to be used for vaccination, it is important that we use the water that is not treated. Okay. So we do not use water which is contaminated with chemicals and then we use it to mix vaccines. No, it can interfere with our vaccines. And then also, the water which is going to be kept for so long should not be rainwater, because we know that some worms, especially ascaris type species, especially in birds, it is very dangerous to give birds the rainwater that has overstayed for so long. So that one you should note it, because worms will grow, especially and then when birds take it, they will have a lot of these worms will grow in their gut, and in future the farmer will spend a lot. How can we maintain these water sources? So the other thing is maintenance of what? Of water sources. Maintenance of water sources. So you have to know it under this heading of water supply. How do we maintain them? Maintenance of these water sources. You fence off the water sources so that you do not allow animals to step in the water, drop down in the water. I don't know if you have you have been in an area where there are many animals step in the water, they drop down in the water, and the water becomes contaminated. Therefore, we should fence off the water source. Okay, the tanks should be supported. Okay, and should also be clean. We clean the water sources, like the tanks, okay, the containers, jerry cans, where we keep water on the farm. Then grass should be planted around the water sources. Okay, and you keep, or the grass that grows around the water sources should be kept short. Okay, why? We are trying to avoid several dangerous organisms that could affect in one way or the other the farmer and even the animals themselves. So so we should always drain, we cut some trenches around the water sources, okay, so that the water sources remain clean, not dirty, not stagnant, for some animals to some parasites to breed on. You have very many questions that were listed for you there in that topic of farm water supply, so you read through some of those questions. However, I could maybe guide you on number 3A. Describe how river water can be used in irrigating crop fields. Describe how river water can be used in irrigating crop fields. You will see in your notes that question. So when you the way of approaching that question is that you should turn all your attention to the methods of what? Irrigation. Okay, you can use flooding. Okay, water can be channeled to the crop fields using flood irrigation. So basically, look at the methods of what? Irrigation when you are attempting that question, describing how river water can be used in irrigating crop fields. Now, very fast, I know time is not our friend. Let's have an hour. We're going to introduce a new topic. We're going to introduce a new topic, agriculture mechanization. So in agriculture mechanization, we use mechanical aids or we use machines to do farm jobs. So we borrow, we use mechanical aids to do farm jobs. Yes, remember we are embracing technology today. As we are embracing technology today, we realize on certain farms it is only mechanical aids that are used instead of hands, instead of manual labor. Okay, and slowly also in Africa, in Uganda in particular, also technology is slowly being integrated in farming. Okay, technology is integrated in animal production, is integrated in crop, because we used to only know that when you use tractors, that is only when we mechanize. No, we have very many cultural projects that we do while using machines. For example, in poultry, okay, brooding, okay, of the chicks, okay, use machines there. Okay. However, there are some activities where we may not use machines. For example, picking coffee, you may not need machines while you are picking coffee, you are picking cotton, you may not use machines. When you're looking at this section, we are going to be looking at benefits, why we mechanize, okay, and then benefits of course mechanization of agriculture. Why do we mechanize? Okay, when we mechanize, we eliminate very many things. Okay, and when we mechanize also limitations. we have also eliminated several things, and when you mechanize, in one way or the other, we are affecting some farmers. Remember, machines are expensive to buy, so not all farmers can afford those machines, and because of that, there is also slow adoption. People they are still doing very well according to them with their low production. They are still embracing work without machines. Okay, so it is very hard to slowly, not slowly, to innovate, to accept new innovations. It is becoming hard for them because they look at machines as a problem to them, not because they cannot afford them, but they think machines are disastrous to them. Now, we shall also be looking at, in that topic, maybe I summarize, because looking at time, I summarize the benefits. So I want you to go and read through the notes as I've sent to you the notes. You read, because we know mechanization helps to increase the output. Okay, farm output. Okay, because you put a lot of land to use when you use machines than when you use manual labor. Okay, but when you're using machines, one man can plow 10 acres of land. One man. Whereas when you're using hands, you have only 1 acre. Therefore, in terms of production, when you use machines, production is high. We could also simplify work when you're using machines. Work is simplified than when agricultural work becomes very hard, and most of the farmers look at it as, and they become exhausted even before starting. So it helps to eliminate or reduce drudgery. Okay. Also could speed up very many operation, land preparation, planting, spray. All those activities are speeded up because we are using machines. And then we know that machines can also improve the properties of the soil, and also it can provide adequate alternatives. Okay, so that we can recruit different labor on the farm. How? Because when you're using machines, the labor that will be used on these machines is deployed, okay, elsewhere, and therefore we can utilize labor well. So I want us to go and look at the limitations of those machines, and then, because we know that they bring about unemployment. Okay, so that next time we start on something new, which is going to be farm power sources. So you read the limitations, and then next time we start on farm power sources. So I wish you well. Thanks for listening to me.